Today in YouTuber news, quick bites. Jessie Smiles debunks claims made in Gabby Hanna's recent tirade against her. James Charles faces a backlash with his return to YouTube. And that's it. I'm Benedict Townsend and this is YouTuber news, quick bites. All your YouTube news in bite-sized chunks. Bite noise. Our first story, Jessie Smiles has released a video debunking the claims Gabby Hanna has made against her. Or at least that's what she says. For context, the former best friends have been feuding online for the past few years. Well, to be honest, feuding makes it sound like it was a sort of two-sided thing. The majority of the feud has been fueled what feels like non-stop by Gabby, with Jessie staying relatively quiet on the matter until recently. Back in 2019, Jessie released a video accusing Gabby of associating with and supporting her abusive ex-partner, despite the sexual assault allegations made against him. Jessie also released a phone call she'd recorded between herself and Gabby, which seems to suggest Gabby had lied on several occasions about the situation. We actually covered it on this very show. Gabby was then criticized for releasing a video in which she claimed Jessie was her, quote, abuser, saying, quote, "I'm saying this with my whole fucking chest. I'm past the point of needing people to believe me. I'm saying it for me. This is the truth. Jessie is my abuser," and claiming Jessie had been, quote, targeting and attacking her online since 2015. Jessie's response to all of Gabby's tirades was thorough, to say the least, responding to and pulling apart each of the claims in Gabby's video one by one. Jessie summarizes what seems to be Gabby's approach to everything right now, first with Trisha Paytas, then with Bianca Devins and the YouTube commentary channels, and now with Jessie. Jessie says, quote, "Tell me one way in which I removed context or made you look like a monster. Maybe you're the monster. In a scenario where your own words didn't make you look like a monster. These are your literal words, the words you speak and write. If that is an atomic bomb on your life, you need to reconsider the way you treat people." And that's what it seems to be boiling down to in every one of these scenarios that Gabby's making hours and hours of video content about right now. Gabby doesn't like it when other people hold her to account for stuff she said, stuff that she's on record as saying, either to them or about them. And she doesn't like it when people critique the way she's treated people. And every single time she manages to sort of interpret this, seemingly, as her being a victim in all these scenarios. Anyway, I guess I'll update you next week on whose turn it is to feud with Gabby. Again, I assume we're in the line. I've got a ticket, so hopefully we'll be up next. Just kidding, we don't believe in feuding here on YouTuber News. We believe in peace. We believe in, just having a good time, because fundamentally most YouTube news does not matter. Speaking of things that don't matter, our second story, James Charles is facing a backlash over his return to YouTube. To be clear, it's James Charles returning that I don't care about, not the quite credible accusations that were made against him. And these were made a few months ago. They were about him potentially grooming young fans, and now he's just sort of returned. And we're not exactly what sort of problematic YouTuber bat signal was broadcast in June, but we can now add James Charles to the growing list of creators returning to the platform having been chased away from the internet for allegedly being up to no good, waiting a while, and then just coming straight on back. And who's to say if David Dobrik, Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, and James Charles all waited for the internet to be focused on other creators' dramas before they soft launched themselves back into the public eye? Who could accuse them of that? Not me, certainly. I'm just a little old newsboy. These guys were watching the Trisha Paytas frenemy stuff blow up and they were like, ooh, good time for me to sneak back in. Posting a video titled An Open Conversation on the 2nd of July, James claims many of the claims about his behavior have been faked, which is quite an accusation. He said, quote, "I'm still a human being." I don't think anyone was arguing that he's not a human being. "I'm still a human being that deserves privacy and respect like everyone else. It's one thing to have a super innocent and casual conversation with someone on Instagram DMs or a dating app, and then to scroll on your For You page an hour later and see every single message that was sent. Is this an attempt to set the record straight or an attempt to garner sympathy, kind of distract from the accusations, reframe himself as a victim, move the conversation onto a sort of different issue? We'll let you decide. However, it's also important to note that James admitted in his first comeback video that was posted in April, which was called Holding Myself Accountable, that he had spoken inappropriately to underage boys. And it's possibly even more important to note that James has now deleted that video. But, to be fair, we all know that in YouTuber years, which are like dog years, accountability strictly only lasts for about 3 months. no exceptions. So, you know, he was very accountable for 3 months, and then we just delete that video, and then we move on, and what? They've got a new Morphe palette, wow! That's all for today, and if you haven't already checked out our mini-series chronicling the most treacherous and betrayal-filled lore in YouTuber news history, The Life of the Rat, make sure to check that out on YouTube. It's a multi-part series, it's very funny and insane. Make sure to check it out, but in the meantime, make sure to like and subscribe. It means simply the world to us. You can do that by hitting subscribe on YouTube or by swiping up on the last snap of the story. It'll come up in a second. And don't forget to leave a whole bunch of comments down below on YouTube as well, because we love to read them. The laughing lady, she sits down with a big mug of coffee and she goes, ha ha ha, time to read the comments, ha ha ha. And it makes her week. I'll see you on Friday with another episode of the full show of YouTuber News. And also there was a new installment of the YouTuber News podcast released today, so check that out wherever you get your podcasts. We spoke about a man who drank a gallon of lemonade in 38 seconds. That's what I call YouTuber News. See you next time. Bye.